Plan ahead to facilitate more effective meetings. Questions that would be answered. What does it mean to facilitate a meeting? Why is knowing how to effectively facilitate a meeting important? How do I facilitate an effective meeting? Connect with me via WhatsApp, +234 703 247 4726, to get more interesting videos. Please, to support our ministry, remember to like the video, and also find it in your heart to subscribe to our YouTube channel and then gently tap the bell to turn on the notification, so as not to miss out on the next videos. Whether you work at a daycare, a nightclub, or anywhere in between, you probably have meetings, or will have to, one day. And no matter what kind of business you run or are a part of, you've probably attended at least a few unproductive meetings that don't accomplish anything. Beyond being a waste of time, unproductive meetings can hurt your business chances of success, and get in the way of your personal career goals, too. So, let's see if you know what an effective meeting looks like. I've got this. Part of avoiding bad meetings is facilitating them to ensure your meetings are efficient, inclusive of all ideas, and worthwhile for everyone. A meeting's facilitator doesn't need to be an expert in the what of the meeting. Instead, their focus is on the how, specifically, how the meeting progresses, and helps everyone present meet agreed upon objectives. A skilled facilitator fosters collaboration and teamwork, and manages any conflict that might arise, all the while staying neutral to the meeting's outcome. While it's helpful to develop skills as a facilitator, remember that the pressure's not all on you. Everyone who attends any meeting is responsible for ensuring the meeting is well run, productive, and inclusive. To be a good facilitator, know the common issues that arise in meetings. Think of these issues as the kinds of people you wouldn't want to be in a meeting with. First, there's people who show up late, aren't interested in the meeting, want it to be over as soon as possible, or spend the whole time not paying attention, because they're checking their texts or emails. Then, there's people with negative attitudes who react poorly to anyone who doesn't agree with them, or who try to find flaws in everything, refusing to acknowledge that any ideas besides their own could be good. There's the person who dominates the meeting, talking but without actually saying anything of substance. And then there's people who talk over each other, making it more or less impossible to lock down any good ideas. Listen up. Preparing for a meeting can help you overcome these common issues, and prevent these unwanted guests from showing up to your meeting. To properly prepare, you'll want to establish your meeting's purpose, agenda, attendees, and logistics. First, the purpose. Before you do anything, ask, why am I having this meeting? Summarize the goal of the meeting in one sentence. What is the ideal outcome? Then, list key objectives. What are you trying to accomplish, and what happens if you accomplish it? Ask yourself, do I really need a meeting to accomplish this, or can I get it done over email? For larger meetings, identify who will benefit most from the meeting's goal. This is your meeting sponsor. For example, if your meeting is about planning a daycare's field trip, the meeting sponsor might be whoever is in charge of that task. Having a meeting sponsor helps you ensure the right questions are being asked, and the right outcomes are being worked towards. Next, decide what kind of meeting you're having so you can figure out an agenda. There are many different kinds of meetings you might have. A one-on-one, or one-to-one, could be between a manager and direct report, or between two peers. A presentation could be informational, or about asking for a decision. You could also do a brainstorm, training, team summit, or other kind of meeting. Knowing what kind of meeting it is will help you figure out what you'll discuss, and in what order. Plan your agenda to meet your objectives, while being realistic about time, and mindful of anything before and after the meeting. Next, figure out who's attending the meeting. What are their roles, managers, employees, HR, and how will this affect the meeting dynamics? Separate from their typical roles, assign meeting-specific roles like leader, timekeeper, and note-taker. Mix up who does what, so it's not the same person every time, and everyone feels more engaged and involved in the meeting. If a decision needs to be made during or following this meeting, who is, or are, the decision makers? Or if there's not a decision maker, how has this group agreed to come to a decision? Next, figure out the meeting logistics. Where and when will it take place? What materials do you need? And how should you and attendees prepare? As simple as it might seem, figuring out logistics is important for making sure your meeting runs smoothly. If people don't have what they need to function, the meeting won't function, either. Make sure that everyone knows how to get to the room or space where you're meeting, that there are pens to write with, and notepads or computer chargers if necessary. Once you have a sense of the purpose of the meeting, the agenda, the attendees, and the logistics, it's a good idea to check in with others who will be at the meeting. Do they agree on the purpose and goal of this meeting? Have you accurately listed anything this meeting will produce? Are you missing anything from the agenda? For larger meetings, this may require formal approval. Share your draft of your meeting's agenda, proposed attendees, location, time commitments, cost, and anything else that needs approval. Once it's approved, go ahead and schedule the meeting. When it's finally time to meet, start the meeting on time to set the tone, and put people on the right track immediately. While everyone will have received the agenda, it's good to walk through it once together, ensuring everyone agrees on the objectives, and that the agenda items will help you meet them. Ask for any final questions, comments, or concerns. Then, lay the ground rules for the meeting to ensure it's inclusive. For instance, you might say one conversation at a time, no multitasking, and no idea is a bad idea. Establish these rules so everyone feels comfortable expressing their own ideas. Encourage openness to differing views, and to risk and failure, too. Don't let anyone interrupt anyone else, or disrespect their ideas. Focus the discussion on ideas, not the people saying them, while also giving credit to contributors. Acknowledge everyone in the meeting, even those attending virtually. If someone hasn't spoken, make sure they feel comfortable, and encourage them to participate, by directly asking them if they have anything to say. Tip: often in a meeting, people have ideas that are good but not exactly relevant to the agenda. Stay on track by acknowledging these, for example, writing them on a board or sticky note, without getting off topic. Keep these ideas in a parking lot, to revisit later. While you want to let all attendees speak, try your best to keep them on topic, making sure that there's not just one or two people dominating the discussion. If you sense the meeting getting off topic, redirect the conversation back to the main topic, again using the parking lot to store ideas for later. In the event of a conflict, have a plan for how to put discussions on hold, or keep them moving along. As the facilitator, you can take questions from attendees, so long as you are in a position to respond accurately. If it's something you can't answer, refer the question to someone at the meeting who is in a better position to respond. When it's time to conclude the meeting, loop back to the meeting's objectives. Ask participants, especially the meeting sponsor, if these objectives have been met. Do your best to summarize the key points made by each person in attendance, and highlight any resolutions that were made to issues addressed. Make sure any parking lot items are collected for later review. Feedback is essential for you to improve, so ask how the meeting went when it concludes. Be sure to review feedback and use it to make improvements. After the meeting, follow up and make sure anything you said you'll do gets done, whether it's because you do it yourself, or assign it to someone else. Think about where to store any to-dos and parking lot items, so they don't get lost in the mix. Review parking lot items to see if they need attention, or even deserve their own follow-up meeting. If your meeting had a sponsor, present to them any to-dos, key decisions, and anything requiring their sign-off. Finally, celebrate the team. Call out anyone who did an exceptional job, and thank them in your follow-up email. Do this now. By now, you may have noticed that much of facilitating a meeting is about preparing. So, let's make sure you're all set for your next meeting. Let's prepare.